Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, the 10th of February. It's Ryan here, and I'm delighted to say I am joined by Gazelle's manager, Craig. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Very well. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I'm excited to crack on with round 21 of the Champman Super League. I'm delighted to say, I don't know if you've got the chat open, Craig. We're joined by a few people already. We've got 12 concurrent viewers so far, including Mr. Edwards of Northern Burn, Alpha Vasta, Greavesy of Loco, Steve Wright of Dudley Hill, Mr. Campbell of Haggis, Wooder of the Dragons, and Mr. Megahorse of the Swamp FA is in the house. So evening to those guys in the chat, and Mr. Palmer, of course, from the Sloths Cupboard. Um, how you doing? All right. You had enjoying the season so far?
Yeah, I'm enjoying some weeks more than others. Inconsistency is absolutely making me, well, I haven't got no hair, but if I had any, I'd be pulling it out. Well, as you see there, win 7-1 one week and then can't score the next three. So, yeah, it's been, when I play champ, I usually pride myself on the fact I'm really quite consistent, but I'm completely the opposite this year. But I don't know, can't put my finger on where it hasn't gone right, but don't know.
Yeah.
Still in with a chance. That's the main thing.
This was a strange result, wasn't it? I just did not see that one coming at all. It's
No, I just seemed comfortable, even though they were always in it. Like, I think with like 20 minutes to go or 25 minutes to go, I was in the lead. And
yeah, and
all
then
of a sudden, just capitulated. Yeah, 15 minutes to go, capitulated.
yeah, I think you scored. Were you 2-1 up at half time, or yeah, and then they scored four in the second half, which is about as many as they scored all season. Evening,
Exactly.
evening to Jens, who just sees arrived in the chat. Um, let's have a quick look at the results from Sunday when we had Alf on comms. You guys got back to winning ways up against one of the what are your playoff rivals, Fulchester, during and in best of it was a pretty dominant performance as well. What do you put your finger on for that one? What changed for this game, which hasn't been working in previous games?
Well, we kept a clean sheet, which is rare. We mixed it up a little bit. We just try, like I say, I'm just desperate to try and find that consistency and a winning formula. We've conceded a lot recently, so we tried something a bit different. And I don't know whether I can claim to be good with a 1-0 win or I can claim to the fact that Fulchester are terrible away this season. I don't know. We'll find out tonight whether the formation change has worked or whether it was a one off.
Yeah, that's only your third clean sheet of the season. Interesting that the other two have come against other teams in the playoffs as well, which is like Fulchester Devils and Leadersford. You've managed to keep clean sheets against. That means every other game against teams up and down the league, you've conceded goals. Um,
Yeah, I think
y- sorry, just to
we
say,
seem
even
to have a lot of
RG.
stars.
Go on,
Seem
mate.
to have a lot of stars in our side, big names, which is why we were tipped so much from the start. So I wonder, maybe I'm probably reading too much into it. It's like a 20-year-old computer game, but maybe the guys like to turn up for the big occasion and sack it off a little bit in the lesser games, maybe. I don't know. I'm hoping I might be able to sneak into the playoffs as a bit of a big gun and rise to the occasion.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but there definitely is an important matches stat somewhere in the editor, and I know I kind of did a bit of nosing about Iker Casillas a couple of years ago, because all throughout the season he seemed to be absolutely awful, and you got him into the playoffs, and he was probably the best keeper on the game. So there might be a little bit in what you're suggesting there, that basically you've got a few of these big players, maybe trying to figure out Dede or Cafu, who you maybe, or even Raul maybe, who maybe just plod along during the season, then come the playoffs they might turn up and realise there's a title to win.
That's what I'm hoping. First of all, I've obviously got to get in there, but I'm hoping now every week the stakes get that little bit higher now between now and the end of the season because you know, your chances to mess up minimalise, don't they? You have to then start winning games. You can't say, oh, I've got 8 games, I've got 7 games, I've got 6 games. It's like it now has to happen, doesn't it? So
Yeah, but with 6 games to go, I think what you're 3 points away from Leadersford in sixth. Because I've no doubt you'll have to play one of the top six. It's definitely in your own hands at the moment. Would you back yourself at this moment in time, or do you think it's right up in the air?
Yeah, I think it's up in the air, but I'd like to back myself. I'd like to think that we'd make it. I think if we don't make it with the squad we've got, it's a massive failure. Personally, I think we should be making it. Um, I hope it comes together now. I think I had a quick look at the fixtures the other week. A lot of my games I've got left are against the top sides now, so we'll see what we're made of.
Most definitely, Sloths, Boston Devils, the next three, and Hulls. So is that the top four? Yeah, so your next
Yeah, I
four
think
games
pretty
against the top
much.
four.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
get much harder than that, does it? Three of
yeah,
them away from home.
that's it's definitely going to be a test of your metal. I just wanted to basically raise a thing. I know you've been in the league for a long time with various outfits, Hoddleston, the original, and Hodds Hornets. Um, you may have kind of noticed back in the day that generally skulking around the bottom of the league, you might have found two teams called Sloths and Devils. Who've had a bit of a meteoric rise this season. Obviously, Devils up at top, free scoring. Sloths, who've been probably the most entertaining team to watch all season. Um, what do you think's been the catalyst of the change for those teams?
I have absolutely no idea what's turned it around. It's great to see them both turn it around because, you've seen a lot of people come and go from the league, but these guys have been there pretty much from day one. And, Fifey gives loads to the league. So it's great to see him up there competing. I think, although he plays it down, I think him actually playing the game must have helped. I can't see how it cannot have helped.
Most definitely.
And I think Rob having the redraft has helped Rob massively, and also having Joe Palmer on board, although he keeps him locked in a cupboard, has definitely helped because the guy he plays more champ than anyone I've ever seen. I think so. That much playing the game that much has got to be an asset for him. But it's good to
Yeah,
see them both up there. It really is.
it is. It's fantastic to see, and I know Mr. Megasave, always plays his involvement with the Sloths down, but I'm sure it has a major impact. Um, it's an interesting one tonight. Obviously, we've got 6 games to go. Um, I would say that you're still within reach of the playoffs, as are Bostock, Stanley, Churchtown, Haggis, and Dudley Hill. It's going to take, I mean, for me, it's 6 points, 6 games is the difference for Churchtown. It's going to take something special for them lads. They're going to have to go on a bit of a run. So I'm just trying to look at the matches tonight and who are the kind of who are the important ones and who are the ones we can kind of fire through quickly. Obviously, we've got 2 playoff games um, in Leathersford and Devils. That'll be a good game. Fulchester and Boston, huge. Is there much riding on the Dragons Sloth game? Dragons obviously pretty much out of
Um,
it. Sloth's pretty much in there. Is that a potential place to go early on? Astor versus Dudley Hill. Should we start there?
Yeah, I
Where do you
guess
reckon we go?
start at the top. I'd say with Astor and Dudley. I think personally, if Dudley don't get anything tonight, I think that's them done. I think, especially against the 13th place side. I think Steve would probably agree. I think he's been saying recently over the last week that he's out of it anyway, but I don't think he truly believes that. I think he'll think if he can get a win tonight and then a win next on Sunday, you're back in it, aren't you? But in my opinion, he's got to get results tonight.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a kind of do or die situation. I think we'll see the kids next week if he doesn't get a
Yeah.
victory tonight. Um, Alf, after claiming that he's not going to change his formation, has give us something else again. This is Alf DM's wide arrows. I think this is the most that Alf's ever changed his formation this season. Alf has also made 7 changes with his reserves. As you can see, there's a lot of starters who played a game yesterday in the reserves, like Rui Costa, Neil Lennon. Obviously, he dropped a few of his main players because they weren't performing. He's brought them all back up now, and this is what he's given us tonight. What do you make of this lineup?
Um, I'm not a massive fan of the narrow. I know I've played it a few games ago for a couple of games, but it's just something I just don't play on home saves. I just don't. I don't know why I just can't take to it. I think it's because it's just unrealistic. So that's why I don't like it. But there's no offense to Alf. He loves his narrow, and it's worked for him. I can remember Thiago. He loved like the narrow as well. But I think some of the players he's brought back in, I think is a good move. Personally, I think Southgate season 1 is superb. So I think that's a good move to bring him back in, although his average isn't great. Um, Also, I'm not sure about Lennon. I like Kaluzny. Rui Costa, I think, is a good one to bring back in as well, especially
Yeah,
this stage of the season.
he's
I
had a
can understand.
relatively quiet season, but you mean I think if you look at that 11 to me and beyond Shevchenko, he's your best player, isn't he?
Yeah,
So
I'd say without a shadow of a doubt. I'd like to see him playing where Del Vecchio is, but I can understand the inclusion of him as well. Um, Perhaps Simon Davies in the midfield is a natural M in
yeah,
there
I think
somewhere.
he's sticking with Del Vecchio. He seems to have a bit of return from him. I think
Yeah,
he
he's
did he
been
get the goal
decent.
last week. He got the goal against Northern Burn last week. He's also been plagued with disciplinary issues. So, I mean, there's been a lot gone wrong for Alf this season. I'm sure he'll be back up there again next year. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a time to do a little bit of a rebuild and see what he can get out of the best of his players.
He does like the older man, does Alf, and I think he might need to mix up with a few young guns next season. Some of these boys are going to be. I think unless you're a top level player, once you get to 32, 33 in the Super League, it can pass you by.
Yes, I think the one that always strikes me is Alan Shearer, who Alpha's actually got, who, for whatever reason, fantastic in the Premier League season 1 and 2, but has never done it in the Super League.
No,
Um, Dudley Hill has given us another unique tactic, something different again, maybe a little bit more out of the box Super League. We see this formation relatively often. Any surprises in this 11 apart from Big Emil up top?
Big Emil's going to hold it up, isn't he? He's going to hold it up for the onrush and Alex and Ronaldo, I suppose, is the plan. I quite like Ronaldo behind a striker like that in the
He's
forward
having a good
role.
season as well. He's having, I mean,
He
maybe
is.
not in terms of ratings, but 8 goals, 3 assists from a player who often kind of gets overlooked in the Super League is not a bad return.
No, I think he's one of them. He's one of them players that some saves he's incredible, and other saves he's just not as good as you want him to be. Really, he's obviously got Crespo injured, which is a blow. Davidson Tomasi is solid. It's really solid. Ayala, I really like Ayala in the game. Delmat can be hit and miss. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
It looks fairly solid. Looks fairly. I think no, his average has been good actually.
yeah, he's brought him in on the advice of um, one of the old managers to kind of a guy who can play that centre midfield role. But we'll see what happens really. It's one of those. I think he gets unhappy pretty easy, Stefan Darmat. So it's whether basically sometimes with people like Nicholas Anelka, the unhappiness in the transfer kind of idea sometimes kind of replicates on the pitch. But so far so good for Darmat. I think Steele were the first to say that he's had a disappointing season so far. I think he was hoping early on he was going to be a show in for the playoffs. It's
He
not turned
started
out that
really
way.
well.
Is this his? I don't know. Did he start that well? His
Did he start well?
performances
I'm
tonight.
imagining it.
I think his performances. I think he won 3, lost 3 of his first 6. Then he went on a 3-match losing streak. So
Yeah,
I think that the one that kind of struck me was that day one where he kind of
but
dominated Haggis Hunters and then got champed by Marcelo Salas. And then that would have made him 3 wins on the bounce if you look at it like that, including the victory over Devils. So that's a potential way to look at it. If it did his season go wrong day one, but as you
he
kind of
could.
said, we're on 25 points now. 20 games gone. Is anything but a victory tonight? Does that rule him out?
I think so. I think he's got to win, and I think Alf's obviously playing for pride and looking at next season.
Right. Oh, on saying that, then I've just asked for predictions in the chat. I can see that Jens has put a 1-1 here. What do you reckon tonight, mate?
I think Dudley are going to sneak this 1-0 and keep their slim playoff hopes alive.
Interesting. It's interesting. It is definitely a must-win. See if anything else is coming through. 5p's going for Alf 1-3. 3-1 defeat. Sorry, 3-1 defeat. So Alf and 5p going for a 3-1 Dudley win. Mr. Campbell going for a Dudley win. Mr. Edwards going for an Astor win. So let's kick this off and see what we get. I know with Palmer in the comments, he'll be sick of my voice already and hoping for me to get the fuck on with it. It starts off, both teams involved in Shevchenko's name a couple of times. Looks like Astra are on top to me, and that kind of comes into fruition with Ivan
Zamorano.
Zamorano. I absolutely love that old Chile strike force alongside Marcelo Salas. Look, to be honest, that to me, it was relatively fast, but that seemed like a lot of Astra.
Yeah, that seemed quite dominant. Not a lot of action, but Asta definitely on top.
Yeah, weather is breezy and drizzle, and Lorenzo Veracini is our referee. Um, Obviously playing into Astra's hands. Um, Looking at this, it looks like Dudley Hill have had the ball and are in the action areas, but haven't managed to get many shots away. Is it a mistake to play Begay Milaski up front on his own? Looking at how the goal went in, it's a corner from Mehmet Shaw, which Zamorano's got his head to. Um, where's it gone wrong for Dudley Hill, and what does he have to do to get this game back going?
Um, Good question. I think it just hasn't worked against Alf Narrow so far, has it? The individual matchups look like they're losing them all over the pitch at the minute. There's no real standout performer. Ronaldo's doing all right. Ayala's having a stinker. Keeper's doing well, keeping him in
Keep,
it by the sound of it.
keepers, well, two shots, one's gone in, so I don't know how well the keeper's doing.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's won a couple of tackles apparently, so I'm not sure whether he's steaming out of his box or what.
Right, so Big Mark Viduka's coming on for Big Emil Heskey. Let's see if that changes anything. He's going to need his defence to shore up a little bit. Sixes and fives ain't going to do the job there. Yeah, and he'll need some more.
With
He'll need
Davids and
more going
Tomasi
forward.
in front of them, you'd expect that to be pretty solid, to be fair. Just needs a bit of magic, doesn't he?
Does indeed. Quick look across to Astro Athletic, and they've had a really, really solid first half. Gian Cheddar, the only person below a seven. Eight from Seaman, Zamorano, and Neil Lennon, maybe surprisingly. Relatively solid. Del Vecchio's not been in the game much. Um, I'm just having a quick look. Key passes from Zamorano, and the assist from the corner from Mehmet Scholl. I'm hoping that Alf's going to tell me that he wants to sub or doesn't want to sub. I will point out that Rui Costa, who started the game, I think on 90% fitness, is down to 82. Um, so, I mean, there's a potential on the bench there for Simon Davis or for, just generally Simon Davis, if I'm being honest, unless you're going to start switching things around. I might even stick with that, in my opinion. Come on, Alf, tell me, mate. I'm just waffling now, mate.
If I saw on Rui Costa there that he's barely seen the ball, but he's completed all his passes and won two or three headers. So if they can actually get him on the ball more, I think he could be the key to them winning this game more comfortably. But he's
Well,
taking him off
I can tell you for sure that isn't going to happen.
because
Alf's
he's
not
took
happy
him
with eight.
off.
Yeah, 82% fitness is not good enough for Alf, and Simon Davis comes on for him. Let's kick off the second half and see if has to remain on top. Um, it starts off with a bit of Viduka involvement, but looks like the Orange is continuing. Mehmet Shaw involved a lot this time. Um, Davids and Viduka. Oh no, Dudley Hill, only 5 minutes to go. Need a goal soon. Viduka putting it wide, 91 minutes gone. Has Alf kept a clean sheet? Alf has kept a clean sheet. That's a very, very quick first half. Absolutely nothing from Astor in the second half, but only one more shot from Dudley Hill and Steve Wright. I mean, Alf will be over the moon with a victory and a clean sheet, but Steve Wright will be absolutely tearing his hair out of that performance. Um, Not good enough, really, when you're chasing the playoffs to get two shots in the entire game. It absolutely flew by the second. I don't even think there's anything worth searching for in the chats. It looks like the defence did a little bit better, but Fabian Ayala, a man of controversy in the Super League, has had an absolute stinker.
What a stinker!
Yeah,
That's after I said I like him on the game. I don't like him anymore. He's had a stinker. But one thing I can notice is Viduka's come on at half time and got an eight. Perhaps if he'd have been on from the start, you know, it's all ifs, buts, and maybes, isn't it? They might have got something from the game, but the reason he probably is on the bench is because he hasn't performed this season. So you can't blame Steve for trying it, can you?
yeah. Has he not performed the
Well,
same
no,
half?
that's not bad. That I mean, his average isn't great, but 4 goals in seven is decent.
It would have made me think of maybe giving him a start. You mean the fact that he's got 4 out of 7? I don't think that's a bad return. I bet it's a better return than Crespo has. He's
I
also
mean,
got.
I like Big Dukes. When I had him at Hoddesdon, the original incarnation, I mean, he can be infuriating. It's very realistic, to be fair. He can be infuriating, but he used to he can pop up with big goals.
He can. He can. I mean, and he's a native Australian as well, which always. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a real Australian. He's not one of these pretend ones we got so many of in the Super League.
Yeah, indeed. My wife's at the supermarket and my baby's just started crying. That's not a good sign. Hopefully she goes back to sleep on her own. If not, then you may have to talk bollocks for 10 seconds while I sort it out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I suggest, yeah, talk bollocks and look at the league for 10 seconds. I'll be right back.
Right, okay. So I'm not sure what game we're going to have coming up next, but there's quite a few juicy ones tonight. Definitely looking forward to the Bostock Haggis. I think that's going to be interesting. I did notice earlier we did say that the Dragons have got Sloths in the Animal Derby. I think that could be an interesting one. Sloths need to bounce back, scoring goals for fun this year. The real big entertainers. I did see in the chat earlier that Palmer's booked a nice little holiday away in Wales next to sea in the summer. Lovely little spot in Norfolk, that Palmer. You'll like it up there if you ever get to go there. But I think Boris might be in your shit out on that this year.
And we are back. How quick was that? That's amazing. She just lost.
That was really good. Top quality childcare, that Ryan.
She just lost her dummy. But yeah, she seems to have gone straight back in. Thank fuck. Ever professional, and I'm sure when I listen to that back, you will have been absolutely superb in
Seamless, seamless.
that. Should we go to church, Sam?
Yeah, let's go to Churchtown. Let's go to Ireland.
Let's go to Ireland. Let's see Kieran, and let's see 0 arrows in a formation. What do you make of this?
Very similar to what we just saw from Stee, I believe. Terry and Okoronkwo, very solid. Powie and Benders to Silva also very solid. That back five to me is very, very good. I think the cat is a bit crap, to be honest. Valeron, hit and miss. Aymar, I love. And I'm a massive Toe Madeira man. So, I don't know. I think he's got the makings of a top side there. It's just it's had similar problems to me, getting the consistency, really. I mean, Toe Madeira's banged him in this year, really.
Yeah, he's not banged them in. I mean, we've spoke about this, I think, for the last few shows. Really, I believe that those 10 goals came in the first 9 games, and he's not.
Early games, gone off the boil.
Yeah,
Bit controversial, but I always prefer Toe Madeira in a 2 to a 1. I know it's very fashionable for a 1 up top in Champ nowadays, and you see the people doing the Tisalgo challenges, and 1 up top is the way to get the most goals out of a striker. But I always found in my home says if I stick Toe Madeira up there with a big man, he absolutely bangs them in.
well, Kieran will be hoping that happens tonight. He's been on a really bad run. Of recently got a draw at the Devils, maybe surprisingly, but beyond that, I think he's
His
had.
last win was probably against me.
It
Yeah.
was against you. That was his last win.
Yeah.
Outside of the OFC Champions Cup, where he didn't concede a goal and scored 3 or 4 every game. Let's continue and have a look at the opposition, who are a resurgent Northern Burn. Let's have a quick look at the last 6 games. They've won 4, drawn 1, lost 1. Obviously, they came from a quite way off at the bottom of the league, so they're still down in 12th. But Ian started to turn things around, and if it wasn't for Gerard Van Bommel and Gattuso getting constantly injured, he maybe even further up the league. Oliver Nerville's come in last week. If I can always hate that he does his team like this, and got a solid 7, 4-1 victory. Should Northern Burn, I mean, looking ahead maybe to next season, should there be top 6 challengers, and
I
why has
think
it
so.
gone why has it gone so far wrong this year?
I think Ian will be disappointed. When I looked at his side, I think we had I don't know if we drew early in the season, really early. I think it was at his place. And I remember thinking to myself, looking at his side and the way he'd set up. I remember thinking, yeah, first game. I remember thinking that was a decent point with the players he had available. And I thought he'd kick on from there, but it never quite happened. And now he's picking up form again. Definitely got the players. Definitely got the player. Van Bommel and Gerard, absolute class. Everyone knows Robin's a flyer. He's got a big tune out of Henri as well. Zambrotta is like an assist king. That is
Maybe not.
not this year. Perhaps he needs to be a little bit further forward. I don't know.
Perhaps. I think that's the thing. Is not with Gerard Van Bommel and Gattuso, I think is the one that's injured. And they're three really, really solid defensive midfielders, and he seems to be lacking any real creative attacking midfielders. I think that's
I
something that's
think
been thrown out there a couple of
I'd
times this
like to
season.
see, if I had that, I'd like to see Gerard, Van Bommel, and Gattuso all hold in. Robin and Zambrotta flying down the wings, Henri in the hole behind Kesman. And I think you are looking at a proper solid side there.
Well, I'm sure Ian will be taking notes. Obviously, he's in good form at the minute, so might not want to listen to too much of what you're saying unless it starts
No,
going
if
wrong
it's
again.
not broke, don't fix it.
What's your predictions in the chat, and what's your predictions, Craig?
I think Northern Burn are going to win this 2-1.
Northern Burn 2-1. Yender's saying there's not many 11 stronger than Northern Burns. That's agreeable from Ian Campbell. Just having a quick read of Steve Wright. He seems to be putting a few paragraphs in here tonight, so not want to get too deep into it, but obviously not happy with his result. Jens going for a 2-2. Steve Wright going 1-1. Devils going 1-1. Podgy going for a 3-0 Northern Burn. What I will say, similar to Dudley Hill in that last game, they're on that 25-point mark, and it's kind of we're getting to the point of now or never for Churchtown, especially in the form
Yeah.
they're in. They'll need to kick on tonight. Obviously, Northern Burn won't be doing them any favours, so let's see how we do here. It looks like the green and orange has started strongest as well, but the Churchtown come back into it. But there is Thierry Henry. The man is must be giving Alfred nightmares after he agreed the sale with Ian. Then he scored every
Alf will
week.
take it back. When he's 34, Alf will have him back.
I've no doubt he's got a few years to go.
Yeah, decade.
It's going back and forward on this. I've seen Churchtown come into it a little bit more since the goal, but I mean that's not good enough really. And similar to the first game, not a lot of efforts in the first half. Both teams maybe cancelling each other out a little bit. It's very similar formations. No shots on target from Churchtown. Seem to have won a lot of the passes, but not winning anything in the air. Just a 2 out of 3 from Northern Burn. The action zones suggest that they've had the ball in the Churchtown area a bit, even though Churchtown have had more possession. Let's have a quick look at the goal. And it's a Van Bommel free kick where Henri has beat the keeper to it. That's in dry weather, not in breezy or blustery. Knowing that it's unlikely that Kieran's going to be in the chat, I'm going to go to Northern Burn first. Do you want to analyse the Northern Burn first half performance?
Solid, solid. Oliver Nerville must be a little bit isolated up there, and possibly Kesman as well. Not seeing a lot of the ball. Thierry Henry, star of the show. Then again, he hasn't seen loads of it, but he's made it count when he needs to. Zambrotta with an 8, proving that he is quality down that side. Yes, it's decent. It's not. They haven't been groundbreaking this half, but they've been the better side, and they've got the goal, and they're ahead at half time.
Yeah, it's been solid. It's been kind of a mixed bunch, hasn't it? You didn't expect
Yeah,
the sixes from Robin, Kesman, a few of the attacking players, but solid with the kind of the core. And Zambrotta putting in a rare, strong performance. Obviously, the assist point from Van Bommel. He'll need to
I
be
expected them to actually, judging by the stats and how the ticket was going, I expected them to see a few more 7s and 8s as opposed to 6s on there.
Mm. It's on screen, and Ian hasn't suggested any subs, so unless he tells me otherwise in the next 25 seconds, I think we're probably going to go with the same. Quick look at Churchtown. Oh, we've got a few potential knocks here for Valeron and Aymar down on 85 and 86. Only Mendes de Silva getting an 8, the rest is at 6s. The rest is at 6 and 7s. Madeira not involved again. Only shotgun off target from Pablo Aymar. 2 key passes, not enough really. Yeah,
Aymar's seeing a lot of the ball.
but not doing
Um,
much with it.
he's not doing a lot with it, which is surprising because I always think he can unlock. when I've played it in the past, but it just doesn't seem to be happening for Kieran.
Not happening at
It's-
all.
No,
Joe
it's
Palmer.
not.
Joe
If you look at
Palmer's
the
asking,
stats,
does
they
Craig
seem to have
not?
had a lot more of the ball. Their midfield and strikers seem to have seen the ball a lot more than the Burton, but the area in play doesn't affect that. So they must be coming very deep to get hold of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Joe Palmer is asking, does Craig not rate George Atos? Obviously, I don't know what he obviously in the Northern Burns side, getting a six tonight. Is he? I don't know why Joe's brought that up at this point in time, but
I wonder if it's because I was saying that I'd have Robin and Zambrotta on the wings.
potentially yes, Matt.
George Atos, he's all right, but he's no Iron Robin, is he?
Completely agree. Completely agree. I'm going to leave Churchtown as the Yar. I think they're solid enough with the 85s, 84s condition. Yeah, I don't think it warrants a change really. Let's kick off the second half. Ian's going as is and started pretty strong. And looks like George Atas was going to assist Thierry Henry there. It didn't come into fruition. Once again, Churchtown coming into it. Zambrotta involved there for Northern Burn. I'm Power involved. Zambrotta's involved a lot for Northern Burn this evening. No more goals though, and it was getting a bit tight now. And there is
Oh, here
it's
he is.
Paul Madeira. Is there a chance? Let's go a bit slower for the last 5 minutes. Get a bit of tension here. Is there a chance for a winner? Mendes de Silva get an opportunity for Churchtown. Zanetti coming forward again. Looks like they'll need a win. Fingertip save. Falls to
Oh,
Nakata, and Toldor gets his body around the ball. Last chance to loon for Churchtown, maybe. Couldn't direct it. It's gone wide, and that's the final whistle. Churchtown definitely gave it a go, didn't they? I think the Northern Burns
yeah.
started the second half the better, but they were hanging on towards the end.
Yeah, I think they were. I think Churchtown was a good second half performance. That I think Kieran will be a lot happier with the second half performance. You know, it's a lot more promise than we've seen from him of late. He'll be pleased that Tony Madeira's back in the goals. As it happened, I think a draw is no good for either of them, though. Really, tonight, I think both of them was a game they needed to win, and now neither of them will be happy with the draw. I guess Ian will be happy he's picked up a point from away from home, I suppose, and Kieran will be happy that he grabbed it late on. But when they look back at it and look at the table, I don't think a draw is really what either of them wanted.
Yeah, I think for Churchtown, I think it's a bit more getting a bit of consistency and building something for next year. So they might not be too sorry for Northern Burn, that is. They may not be too bothered about the result, but I think
No.
it was really the big chance for Churchtown tonight. That was the kind of they needed to win to have any chance of the playoffs, and that point might not just be enough. A quick look at the Northern Burn performance before we move on, and it's the Zambrotta that's been missing all season has turned up tonight. Still got no assists or anything like that, but really solid performance. He's picked up a 9. Apart from that, I think relatively solid across the block, without pulling up any trees. Henri continuing his relatively fine. That's 6 in 11 for Northern
Decent
Burn,
average.
but another 5 and 9, so that's probably 6 into 11 for the season, which is relatively solid. And with Madeira getting one tonight, he'll also be on 11 from a similar amount of games. So um, relatively solid. You can see that the average ratings have improved massively for Churchtown's second half. Okorowanko has been solid all season, getting 8. Zanetti, again, probably struggle for too many better in that position at right wing back. Jens Lehmann good. Patrick Power having a good game, getting the assist for Madeira at the end, although I think Madeira had quite a lot on his own. Um, Solid game, but I agree the result hasn't really done Kieran Norrie in any favours.
No, I don't think so. I think 100% a fair result. You know, look at the chances made. It was definitely the right result.
Yeah, I think fair enough. Completely right. That yeah. And a quick look in the chat. Good evening to Dr. Aardvark, who's rooting for Chris. I assume it can be Maka or Hodgie. I'm assuming it's Mac. I'm going to assume it's Hodgie because no one's ever called Maka Chris. Um, and clicking on Henri after 15 minutes does my head in. I know Mr. Edwards has got his superstitions when it comes to clicking on things during the game. So in future, Ian, I'll try to remember not to click on things too much. I apologise. Where am I up to? Fixtures, next game. Right, I'm going to hold Bostock Haggis till a bit later because you know how much fun that's going to be.
That's
Um,
X-rated, isn't it? It's got to be after the watershed. It's got to be late.
I'm going to go to Dragons. I think Dragons not much to play for. I think Sloths are 90% there. Let's see what Mr. Hopkins has gone for
I,
this week.
you
I
say
mean,
sloths are 90% there, but Joe Palmer is involved, and he has got a reputation for blowing good positions to not get in the playoffs. So, I don't want it to come back and bite you.
right, that's probably not the thing to do then. So I apologise for putting too much pressure on the Sloths. And yes, Leathersford have not been on yet, Mr. Aardvark, or Dr. Aardvark, so they'll be on soon. Yes, this is a Dragons lineup, similar to the one that beat you 5-3, Craig, I'm afraid to say. It's beating
Excellent.
Nightmares here. There's no arrow on Ibrahim Saeed, but Zia Elias does come back into the 11 after he was injured last week with Owen Hargreaves maybe a little bit harshly after an 8 getting dropped.
Yeah, I've had Hargreaves. I think I had him in the past few seasons, and he's just so hit and miss. You can get an 8, but he's quite liable to turn up with a 5 tonight. So I can kind of understand that. It's quite solid, isn't it? There's a lot of South Americans in there, is there? But Kaká, Bastuta, D'Alessandro. I mean, Boma and Zauri, they should be flying down those flanks. That they should really be piling in the assists. Whether they don't think they have been. I mean, Bowyer, I think it was last season or the season before, was phenomenal. Said and West both solid. I think I prefer Said in defensive midfield. Kaka, I can't get a tune out of ever. And Batstuta and Back have got goals in them. That Dragon side is not, it's not a 14th place side. I think he'll be disappointed. Sadorf as well. Sadorf's decent. I'm surprised he hasn't
If
been
he's
more
not on a
involved.
run all season, I don't. I That's one thing I've not understood about the Dragons at all. Surely he's got to be one of the main men. Climbing stayed out.
Well,
He's got 6 starts. I'll see. Fair enough. When he's played, he's not been great, but 6 starts out of 20 games is not enough opportunity, I think, for a player of his quality.
no,
And
it's about getting him in the right position as well, I suppose. If you're going to play him, I'd like to see him as an attacking midfielder, like he is, not a winger, as an attacking midfielder. In the 4-3, in the 4-1-3-2, which I'm a big fan of. If that was me, I'd like the D'Alessandro, Seydorf, and Bowyer in there. Is a cracking three.
completely agree. D'Alessandro maybe a little bit of a stretch season one, and he's had a really shit season.
Yeah, he's been
But
terrible actually. Scrap that.
Man, I think the adage when you've got a player like D'Alessandro, who, in my opinion, fantastic player, but maybe a season end of season 2, season 3 player, similar to Pavel Brozek maybe, and you've got Paul Vosfeld, right? Maybe not a player you'd ever go for because he starts off at 31 years old, but really, really solid, and he'd be, I mean, for me, he'd be a shoe in for that season one. Just play every game there, set midfield, really, really solid. Then guess what? You never see him again because D'Alessandro's come good. But
Yeah, I
surely
think
he's
that's
got
the
to be
thing.
better than Kaká, hasn't he? I mean, I don't know. I don't often do this, but I'm sure I might be egg on my face here, kind of thing. But
I would
um,
imagine you're right.
Adam,
I would imagine you'd be right there. Yeah,
I mean,
Bosvelt miles better as a midfielder. I think that's a common mistake which everybody has made throughout since the Super League's incarnation from season one. Everyone looks back to the home saves and thinks, well, we buy these good young players, we blood them, season two, season three, they're good. And then you get them in your squad and you play them season one and they're not up again, you're not buying them in like the championship or whatever it is and blooding them in. They're up against the best week in, week out. So they do sink, that they're not quite good enough. Like Tonton Zola Makuku is a fine example of that. I remember Pfeiffer used to be desperate to get hold of him in that, but he's just nowhere near good enough for at least 3 or 4 seasons, especially not at this level.
completely agree. Tonton, though, isn't he? I don't think I've ever seen him get looking in the Super League. Um,
No, he's not good enough
for,
for the
for,
Super League. I don't think the Super League lasts long enough for him to become good, if that makes sense. I mean, everyone overlooks the older players because they know, well, I know I do when I play my home saves. You bin them off because you're always building something if you're building an empire. But in the Super League, if season one, go all out season one glory. And, if you've got a few older heads in there, just play them. Perhaps don't
well,
play as many as Alf does, but, mix it up.
yeah, one man who is absolutely quality and worth the weight in gold, and I think both of these central defenders are kind of proving that. for the Slough this season is Gamara and Desai. I mean, Desai maybe not have the ratings, but the match ratings, but his stats are absolutely phenomenal first couple of seasons. Um, and yeah, as we've just been talking about giving time for players to blood. We've not really given. I mean, David Collins hasn't. I mean, eased into the Super League, has he? He's been thrown in there, and
He's
he,
an absolute freak of nature, isn't he, Dave Collins? I mean, he's took to the Super League like duck to water. I mean, I don't know if he's been in previous incarnations of the Super League. I don't think he has. But this year he's just been a revelation, and it's just proven that he can do it at any level. But I'd say he's the exception to the rule, really. I mean, you even see it with
he,
Sigalko, one of the biggest players in the games, never really cuts it at Super League level. But Collins, well, I don't know
what
what to
about
say about him.
this man?
Yeah, superb as well. I mean, it's never even heard of the guy until Boise started playing him with his Haller side, and his stats are unremarkable as well. But he just turns in performances. Just imagine him being just a real horrible, horrible bastard. To be honest.
I'm sure. I mean, most Scottish people are, but
What's he doing at Sloths? Why hasn't he not got him?
I've absolutely no idea. I think actually this is right. Rocks actually sold Scally in the pre-season to Sloths. I know Sloths. A lot of their transfer business was done by the master. That is
Yeah.
Mr. Palmer, and obviously he's done good business. I've read before that Mr. Palmer has made very, very clear that he has absolutely nothing to do with Idiger Johnson being brought in from the reserves and starting up front.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. He's somebody I don't very often get a tune out of. I tend to have bought him on home saves from a slightly lesser club. And you think he's like a big name and he's going to do well, and he never has. But looking at the way Sloths have been this season, he's got the best out of a lot of players. I wouldn't be surprised to see him bag a couple tonight.
Not at all, not at all. But he's getting a squad number. Obviously, I've got a bit of fondness for Idiger Johnson because of his two spells at Bolton.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Let's have a. I've just asked for some predictions here in the chat. Wooders going for 4-0. Alfred's going 3-3. Palermo and San, Palmer explain. That's what Rob's not happy with Palmer for a couple of people. A lot of people going for Dragons tonight. Potato Marine, you're going 5-1 Sloths. What's your prediction, mate?
I'm going to go for a 3-3. I fancy goals tonight.
Well, we need some after a bit of a poor start on the goals front. Let's see how we get on then. Dragons at home to Sloths. Let's kick this off. And I think Batistuta hit the post after a minute, didn't he? And it looks like a lot of yellow. That's not what Rob will be wanting to see, but no goals in as yet after 20 minutes. And there is the main man
There he
himself.
is.
I'm
There
pretty
he
sure
is.
that was Zé Roberto as well, who's been absolutely phenomenal this season. And it's just that same old partnership, isn't it? Zé Roberto and Collins, absolutely phenomenal. And it's the same old story for
Oh,
Dragons,
Lee Bowyer.
or is it? Lee Bowyer's been probably one of their shining lights this season. 6 goals, 3 assists. He's had a couple of minor injuries, which has stopped him playing every game. He's got the equaliser there. Yeah, it looked like Dragons started and finished the half better, where Sloths took over in the middle. 2 shots on target to the 3 of Sloths, relatively level on there. Slightly more in the Dragons area, and Sloths have had more of the ball. Let's have a quick look at how the goals have gone in. Yeah, no surprises there. Zé Roberto, low cross on the left. David Collins found himself plenty of time and blasted towards the top corner. Classic David Collins. And it's Batistuta getting above Gamara and turning a sister, bringing the ball in for Lee Bowyer, who gets the ball past Esteban. Let's have a look at Spartak's Sloths first, and this is a classic Sloths performance, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I just think there's such a goal threat with Zeroboto's assists and Collins on absolute fire that they looked like they were under a lot of pressure. And then all of a sudden, bang, they're 1-0 up. Ida Johnson not really doing a lot so far. Um,
Rob's keeping the same. I've just seen that. So he's happy with. He's going to give Ida a bit more than the
yeah,
5 minutes.
I think I'd do the same in his position. Yeah, I think you won one away from home, took the lead. I think you'd be looking second half to try and go on and win this now. Really, Rob will.
I think this might be Rob sticking to his guns because he's sticking with it, and Palmer's saying, "I bet he comes off here." Um, let's have a quick look across to the Dragons and Ibrahim Saeed, who started the season really, really well and has been having a nightmare in recent weeks, um, is pulling out a 9 at half time. It seems to be the defensive solid wall, and it gets to the attacking players. Alessandro back, Batistuta and Kaka getting sixes. Um, Solid enough. You see already that Wood keeping the same.
Yeah, solid, and unspectacular, but they're well in this. They're well in this, as I found out to the worst possible way the other week, didn't I? Just watch
In,
out for the last 15 minutes.
yeah, let's hope that we get a few more goals by that point. Let's kick off the second half, and a lot of slots to start off. Salihamidzic involved quite a bit. Um, Both sides getting involved though. Zay Elias back. And it's Kaka. You don't have any confidence when you see Kaka on the ball, but you do have
Oh,
confidence when you see Archie back on the ball, who's just started after a torrid time at Haggis to get a bit of form together for the Dragons. And the Dragons lead with 22 minutes to go and look like they're in relative control here. But obviously, that means nothing when David Collins is in
oh, here he
opposing
goes.
side. That has fit perfect, didn't it? Looks like Collins again is dragging the Spartak slots through. But, or is he? Oh, yes, he
Oh,
is. Oh, my God. We've got to
well, that
go
was
again.
better. That was better. I wasn't far out with a 3-3. That was eventful.
It was a great game. I enjoyed that as well. And obviously, the Dragons desperately unlucky with Batistuta getting the goal disallowed at the end. Um, Maybe not a one-man team. I was having a quick look at how these went in. The 6-6, relatively, you think that's a fair result overall. Yeah, possession and action zone that too dissimilar. Um, Archie back looks like a bit of a solo goal. Yeah, West cleared it and then back picks it up solo goal. And Salihamidzic, the other from the other wing this time, bringing it to Collins, who does a few bits and then puts it in the back of the net. Um, let's have a look at Sloths, and I asked the question: maybe not a one-man team. Are Sloths a two-man team?
Attacking wise, they're a two-man team, but as you said earlier, you can't rule out the importance of Gamara and Desailly at the back there and Scally protecting them. Um, they're probably the unsung members of the team, but if you're looking for headlines, you would say that Zay Roberto and Collins are the ones making them at the minute.
Yeah, they've been absolutely fantastic. He's obviously brought Esteban in for the first time tonight. Just a little mention to him after Abiati pulled a four last week. Not someone I'm particularly fond of. Usually talk about this stuff before the game, but it's solid performance. Conceded 2 goals from 6 shots on target. Be
You
interesting to
never,
see.
you never know with keepers, do you? The keeper's the most erratic thing of this game, aren't they? You can think you've got a good keeper, then he throws a four in and throws a couple in, or it's difficult.
It is difficult to call.
See, that's solid for the Dragons. That is really solid.
It's really solid, but it's not a victory, is it? And is
No,
that's
it's
the
not.
issue.
No,
You'd
it was
think if you
close.
look at
It was
those stats,
close.
you look at those stats and you think, oh, I've won that game. But they haven't. It's a 2-2. It was, I mean, a little bit unlucky at the end with the Batistuta goal just allowed. Solid performance from the strikers in the second half after I kind of give them a bit of a hammering at half time. Batistuta being solid enough, but key pass and a relatively solid 6 out of 10 headers won. Archie back not doing too dissimilar. Ibrahim Saeed 7 out of 7 headers, 4 out of 5 tackles. Really, really solid performance by a lot of these players. Makes you wonder what went wrong for them to concede the 2 goals.
It's almost the classic case of a real solid unit of a team. What the
Yeah.
Dragons have been tonight against a side with just two really outstanding informed attacking players.
So
That's the way that game looks like it's happened to me.
yeah, let me ask the question though. I mean, Dragons clearly, I think that's 9 goals conceded more than any other team in the league. Now, no questions about Oliver Kahn. That's not been anywhere near his best this season. But I don't think anyone's mentioned Taribo West. as a potential. Is he good enough? Is he a starter in the Super League? Ibrahim Said out of position. Is that good enough? Let's have a quick look at who else he's been playing in defence. Marcus Babels, I've played a few
No,
games.
not for
Ben
me.
Phelps not been anywhere near the lineup. Ronnie Johnson's played a couple of games.
I think Brody Johnson's all right. Season one, bit of experience. You know what we just seen with you got the Sloths at the back there. They've got a bit of experience in Kamara and Desai.
So
I don't
what?
know. I think the centre half's probably not good enough. Taribo West, I always find that if you're a top club, you sign him as a backup player. You
Yeah,
don't sign him as a starter, and Super League is the top level, so you need the very best. So yeah, I'd probably say for me, Taribo and Saeed would both be backup players as opposed to starters if you were talking top level.
yeah. I think Said, as much as I'm not a fan of him, that's kind of well documented in the Super League. I think he's definitely his best position, but the position where he can be consistent. And obviously he's had a good game tonight, so I'm not slagging him off too much. But he's definitely better at defensive midfield. So
Yeah, I'd agree
obviously
with that.
reluctant to drop DLIF, who's had a solid season. Um, Astor watching Ronnie Johnson, that's no surprise. Um, let's continue and see what we've got next. What we're doing fixtures. We've had Astor Dragons. I think I'm gonna go because I want to see what happens afterwards. I think I'm gonna go to Leathersford next. We've got someone watching who's a kind of first time watcher, so welcome to them. I'm a bit of a Leathersford fan. I don't think Hodgie's ever had a fan before, so this might be interesting. Um, and there's a little bit of an interesting take on this game tonight, which I'm sure you'll, if you've not seen already, you'll come into plain sight in a moment or two. Let's before we do that, let's have a look at the Leathersford tactic. Leathersford obviously in six against tonight's league leaders need to kind of keep up the momentum after three victories on the trot has put them there. Only change I can see is Youssef Hersey has come in. I'm just trying to look at who dropped out. I'm sure Hadji will tell me. But he definitely wasn't playing last week in that position. Um, do you like this lineup? Do you think that the Leathersford old boys are worthy of a top six spot?
Yeah, I think they are. You know, I think the way he's not afraid to mix it up, is he? You know, if something doesn't work, he ain't afraid to change it. And you know, he'll change his formations, he'll change his lineups, and he gets results. There's no two ways about it. And I think he's got the know-how, and I think they've got the quality that they will definitely be in the top six.
They will definitely be in the top six. Now that
I
is
think so.
kind of
I think so. I definitely think they will. I mean, I
it,
really like Montella and
well, these two
Torres as well.
players because he went had a poor start to the season, Montella, and then was left out of the team for ages. Torres was down in the reserves. It was basically Morientes has been the main man up front on his own all season. And then the last three games, he's changed with two up top, and it's been Montella and Torres, and they've won all three games. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that both players scored in all three games. That's Torres, Montella, Torres, Montella two, Torres one. So to say that they've made an impact is a bit of an understatement, really. They've come in and kind of revitalised the side here.
That's
Robbie
what I was
Keane
saying
tonight
about
dropped down.
Hodgie. He's not afraid to completely change it, you know, and that's why I think he'll be in there because if something doesn't work, he doesn't dwell on it. He'll just mix it up.
Yeah. No. What's going on here?
Oh, I really don't know. I think Fifey likes either it's a masterstroke or it's a shit show. I don't know. I just you can't second guess Fifey. I just think I don't know whether he's playing mind games. I don't know whether he's got complete faith in these boys he's brought in, or whether he's seeing which guys are good enough to come in when it comes to the playoffs and things get a little bit, when condition
So,
comes into it and you have to make
yeah,
changes. I don't know.
Fifey made a big point last week. He's on 40 points. Out of the six Super League seasons that we've had previously, 40 points has been enough in, I think, three of them, right? And he made a big point last week after the show. He's on 40 points, but there's no PL next to his name. So he made. I mean, it's a relative point that he's he's there, but he's not safe yet. And then after all that, after all the kind of playing it down and we're not there, we need to get there, he puts this formation, which I don't want to kind of go into selection and things like that, but I think you'll be looking at that Kevin Phillips is going to, that's his debut. Ryan Mackay is his second game, third game for Ryan Mackay. He's had sixes. Elisa Derby played a few appearances, but nothing spectacular. Brugging, 2 or 3 games. Van Bronckhorst and Wes Brown, I think, are the players that have played the most. Is this overconfidence, or is this giving other players a chance? Therefore, if he gets any injuries, he knows who to turn to.
I think that's the thinking of it. I think he's literally looking at if he gets injuries, he can see who else is up to it in his squad. Also, if he finishes a bit further down the table in the end, he's then got the option of, when condition comes into it, when you come in the playoffs, he knows who can come in. Personally, I think if you're top of the table and you're winning games, stick with your best 11 and go win that league, and then you've got less games to play to win the whole thing, haven't you? Um, if you're winning games, keep your team the same and keep going. But no doubt, the way Fifey season's gone today, he'll probably just go smash this 4-0 and be well and truly verified in his decisions.
Just looking a quick look at the comments, there's been a few maybe comments in the chat and in on comms in the last few weeks where people have said that the Devils have probably got one of the strongest 11s, but maybe not the strongest squads. So this might be Fifey trying to prove a point that he actually does have a relatively strong squad. I believe that if he's actually just put this 11 out to prove a point, then it may be a dangerous game to play. No, it's not really the time to be losing form, in my opinion. Quick look at
No, I'd agree
the
with that.
predictions. Leddersford 5-1 from Alf. Dimble going for 3-0. Mega Horse win 0-0. Steve Wright win 2-0. Greasy win 4-0. I don't think anyone here I can see has backed Fifey and the Devils. What do you think about this, mate?
I'm going to back him. I'm going to back him. I'm going to go against the predictions, and I'm going to say the way things are going this season for Fifey, I can see him making all these changes, winning 2-0 and looking like Pep tonight. I can see it.
Well, I'm not too sure I bet your confidence, but they've definitely started well and with a lot of the ball. But after 7 minutes, it's a goal from that man, Youssef Hursti, who's come into the team um, tonight. It looks like Leddersford are creating chances as well. Let's see if Kevin Phillips can get in the team. He can't, but at least
Oh,
today he
another
could, but then he was
disallow.
offside. 30 minutes gone, Leddersford still lead. Torres definitely involved. Sorin Corner as well. Looks like Torres is involved a lot. But Devils definitely still in this. Elisa Derby involved with that as well. Montella maybe had one of his quieter games. Yeah, but Torres has touched the ball a lot, and
Wow.
with it being 1-0, is that a dangerous 1-0 considering? I mean, Fife hasn't had a shot on target yet. 3 out of 8, maybe not what Hodgie wants to see. Maybe the reason why it's only 1-0, but definitely Devils not in this game the way they want to be, but not over yet. Um, Not too much in the percentages there. It's been all in the Devils area though. Let's have a look at it. The goal went in. It's Montella. Looks for Hersey that takes a few touches and strikes the ball. Um, Mistake from Fifey.
Yeah, certainly looking that way, innit? Sorry, Fifey, for picking you up and saying that this is going to get payoff for you before I go against the grain. But no, I think, like everyone was kind of predicting in the chat, that this would happen. There's a lot of players in there who you would say are not as good as the Leddersford players who are in tonight. But to know this, they've underperformed. Kevin Phillips touched it 6 times. I mean, they're underperformed, but they're only 1-0 down. I mean, if Fifey's being honest, with that side away to Leddersford, if you're 1-0 down at half time and still in it, I think you might even zook that.
So the question I'm going to ask you, as I kind of, I'm waiting for Fifey to kind of if he wants any subs. I don't think he does. Fuel for Brunick, so he's actually changing things up a little bit. Um, the question I was going to ask is, as you're one of the chasing pack, um, and basically the team you're generally trying to catch is Leddersford as well as
Yeah.
Bulldogs and Pools and things like that. Are you happy with Fifey?
I mean, Do you know what? I wasn't thinking about that until about midway through that half. I suddenly thought, hang about, this isn't doing me any favours at all, is it? But at the same time, we've got to do what we've got to do, and it's completely up to Fifey what he does with his team. Basically, we've got to put the results on ourselves. We can't be worried about what other people are doing. Bastards.
um, quick look at this. He's going to bring on Volodenko for Soren. Thank you, Haji. Solid performance for the first half for Leddersford. A couple of sixes in there for Ekiog and Soren. Apart from that, eights and sevens across the board. Maybe he wants Montella getting his shots on target, as with Torres, who's just got 1 out of 3. Percy's been the most accurate of the lads. That's why he's got the goals. Obviously, first half, only 3 out of 8 shots on target is where he's going wrong and why he's only 1-0 up. But let's not forget he is 1-0 up. He is winning this game. This could be
Yeah.
full on the bounce for Leddersford. So let's kick off the second half and see if that continues, or if Harry Kuehl makes a big difference. Maybe not, because Fernando
Fernando.
Torres has continued his great form with a goal in 49 minutes. Now it's a big ask for the lads
Oh,
in red, and that's
absolutely. So
another disallowed goal, this time for Diaz. Um, a lot of yellow as well. Hersey having another shot. You do feel that they're not completely out of this game, but I just looked at the clock and it's on 87 minutes, 89 minutes. So, and there's
three.
Montella, and there's
Montella
three.
and Torres again.
Yeah, maybe not the Montella and Torres show tonight, but they've both scored again. And yeah,
14 to
maybe,
1.
yeah. And let's be honest, they've had 2 good disallowed goals in the Devils.
Yeah. I mean, that could have been different, wouldn't it? I'm hoping Fifey does a full on, like, Jose style rant at officials in a video tonight, because that would be superb. But yeah, even with the disallowed goals
Yeah,
aside, they've been battered, haven't they?
they have. It's not been a great evening, and maybe a lesson learned for Fife, or maybe not. Maybe still a point to prove. Pat Soglu in front of Torres for the first goal, and Torres puts it in for Montella. I won't be surprised if Torres has picked up man of the match here. Yes, he has, and that's a really
Yeah.
solid all-round performance from Leddersford. Um,
Yeah, that is a real good performance, but you probably would have expected it, and I think with Torres and Montella at the minute and the form they're in, they are flying. They're hitting form with the right time now. 5 games to go, and they're scoring goals for fun and winning games. They're a team to watch out for at the minute. I think a team to watch out for. And on the flip side of this, from Fifey's point of view, he's found out that a lot of the lads he wasn't sure about whether they were good enough or not. He now knows the question. Now knows the answer to that.
yeah, completely agree. Montella picked up a 9, even after missing he wasn't on it tonight. Simeone, who brought in from Locomotive, I think, he's having a great kind of time, 4 games and getting an 8 rate, average an 8 rating. I think you can't really ask for too much more. After I question letting Olivier Decour go, Johan Vogel's been absolutely fantastic all season for Leddersford. I think they're a strong outfit, solid at the back as well with Nessa and Ekiog. I think there's definitely they're going to ask some questions by whoever they come up against between there and the rest of the season. I'm not going to dwell too much on the Devils kind of 11. Richard Wright being the best player, and you mean not great. Sixes and fives, that and the 1-7. Yeah, not good enough. These players, obviously, this is the Champman Super League, not the Champman Average League, and Fife kind found out that those players, not in his first 11, might not be up, might not be up for it.
Yeah, I don't think they are now. I think he's found that out tonight. You can change one or two, but I don't. You can't change that many. But there you go. He's learnt that. Perhaps that's what he wanted to find out, and perhaps he'll see that as a positive that he now knows that.
Mm. Um, let's have a look at what we've got left. We've got Fulchester Locomotive and Hull's Gazelle. So I think that means that we've got to head to Bostock. Um, I think that's only the right thing to do. And we are already on Mr. Scott Sadler. These two, obviously, great friends and great enemies. When it comes to the Super League, they don't like each other. They really want to win. Last time they played each other, it was the Haggis boys who came out on top with a 4-2 victory. Quite
Big
deservedly
result.
so. Goals from Larson, Mendieta, Salas, and Agatz, which is no doubt give him the bragging rights. Um, Scott Stad will be looking to get some revenge this evening, and this is what he has gone for. One at the back. What do you make of this?
The one at the back, I always think is mad. I mean, people get results with it. It's something I never tried, but famed by Joe Barmer. You know, he really got a tune out of his boys playing one at the back. I mean, with the three in front, should be pretty solid. I'm not sure how he's been performing, but John Welsh to me is a brave picks season one.
Picked him consistently
Yeah, he's been
recently.
doing
He's
all
not been
right.
too bad.
Yeah, he's been doing all right. Yeah, I don't know. Zidane's a bit of a myth, isn't he? You never know. Eto and Vieri, Big Jagger. That's should be. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this side, to be honest. Bostock. It's got some quality, and it's got some I'm not convinced by. I'd like to see Joe Cole playing. And I'd probably like to see Smith playing, and then Eto in the Zidane role. But yeah, at home with the big rivalry, I think he's done his homework, and I think he's picked players for the cause tonight.
Yeah, one player will need a big performance from is Zinedine Zidane. Obviously, he's going to be his key man in that hole behind the two. He's not really done it this season. He scored a couple of set pieces. He'll need big ones, big performance from him tonight, as well. He will from Andre, who's been solid last couple of games, but does have a four in him. Um, let's move across town. I completely agree with you actually about Etor. Obviously, I'm a much bigger fan of him in attacking midfield than I am up top. Haggis, absolutely love the Haggis team name, tactic names he gives me each week. Always something entertaining and different. This one, it's the Mel Gibson. Um, he has been talking. We spoke a lot about the midfield of Haggis the last few weeks, and he's kind of been playing a little of a diamond without Vieira in the middle of it, and maybe not getting the best out of those fantastic players he's got. He's stacked the midfield this evening. Um, got all those players, and then Nedved, Vieira, Mendieta, Rosicky, Petrov. Is this is this his strongest lineup? Who's missing from it? Who would you have in rather than this? Or do you really like this? I don't want to put a
I
nasty spin and know straight away.
I actually quite like this. Quite like the formation. It's a slight variant on a 4-1-3-2, really, isn't it? With Rosicky dropping in and you're just pushing your fullbacks forward a bit. Candela is decent. I really like Petrov. Vieira's obviously a beast. Quite brave to pick him a bit further forward. Yeah, I like the look of it. I like the shape. And to me, it's mainly players in the right position. Um,
Forward
yeah, I
arrow on
think.
Mendieta. Is that something that you'd go for? Mendieta's
Yeah,
absolutely
maybe
quality.
not. I mean, he can create there. He's got a lot of defensive midfielders, hasn't he? With Zioni on the bench as well. You could even swap Mendieta and a Gat round if you needed to, because Magat is like an attacking midfield, right centre, I think, defensive attacking. Yeah. A Gat to me is probably the weak link. I don't know whether he's Super League standards.
He
He's
let
probably had a brilliant season now when you click on it. But
He's been solid enough again. He stuck with him. I think he let. I'm
yeah,
probably
that's
going
all
to get
right, isn't it?
corrected here. He let someone go. Let's have a quick look who he sold, who he played in that position. He sold
Okay.
Zeri to Dragons to get Mendieta in part of that deal. So he's kind of, do you mean he's putting all those eggs in that basket? He's got Doulage as well, who he went with Midlothian. And as you suggested, he could play Mendieta there if needed. Or even Christian Bassidas, who's not really had much of a chance this season.
No, he's done all right. 4 appearances, 2 goals, 7.25. He's probably like not really the most, fashionable, is he, Basadas? But he's solid. I think that Haggis lineup's quite solid, to be fair, all round. Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
Yep, I quite like it as well. I think this is probably, I've liked this more than the kind of gap in midfield that he's had the last couple of weeks. I think this is a
Yeah.
more solid lineup.
I think he played something when he was flying earlier in the season. He played something similar, not exactly the same as what he's playing tonight, but I think it was something very similar.
Yeah, completely agree. A quick look at the league table, and Leadersford have won tonight. Obviously, we've still got Tools and Fulchester to come and Locomotive, etc. But the fact that Leddersford have won this game has made this game a huge game now for both sides. It's probably the last chance for Highgate. It's maybe not the last chance for Bostock, but it's definitely a long way back if they fall even further behind. Quick look at predictions in the chat. Dimble's going for a 0-0. Greavesy 3-2 to Bostock. 2-0 for Haggis for Steve Wright. Rob Marshall 2-1 Bostock. Alf going for 2-1 Haggis. So this is definitely split. Testo Mourinho, as expected, would be going for 2-1 Haggis. What do you reckon there?
I fancy Haggis tonight with that lineup. I think they're going to take this 2-0.
So the Haggis to do the double over Bostock. Let's see what happens. And that's that man Didier Agat with a strong start. Looks like a lot of blue and black so far. Let's see if that continues. It's like both sides getting a bit of a play, well, bit of a what do you call it, foothold in the game. Zidane involved, Castroman, Luzu Zoo, Vieira having a shot cleared off the line there, I believe. Looks like Vostok's slightly in charge now, but Haggis are dangerous with Larson up top and Nedved in midfield. And it looks like Dimble might be on the money here at a 0-0, especially at half time, and that's exactly what we've got. Oh,
Oh,
same
very
old,
even.
yeah, same old story for a lot of these sides, especially for Haggis, who've just not scored enough goals this season. One shot in target in the first half. Bostock have 3 on target. Looked like, give me, I thought for a second when Vieri headed home, whatever it is, everyone cleared off line, that might have gone in. Relatively solid, the ball in midfield. Um, both sides playing a lot of midfielders, slightly more possession for Bostock Stanley. There's not too much to look for in the what do you call it, in the text. So we've got to look at Bostock first. Solid first half, nothing spectacular.
No, that's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Again, Zidane flattening to deceive. I mean, Eto and Vieri haven't really seen enough of the ball by the look of it. Malewski, Lassini, the one man wall at the back, doing all right. Yeah, it's solid. I think he's got to be happy with that. To be honest, I think he'll be really quite happy with that. All they've got to do is nick a goal now, haven't they?
Yeah, all they've got to do is nick a goal, and he's hoping that Big Alan Smith is going to come on and do that. I don't know why I'm clicking on that. He's coming on for Samuel Eto'o. Smith has scored 6 goals this season out of 9 starts, but I do believe they came in 2 or 3 games. So, you mean he's a good at man at getting a hat trick, but maybe not scoring every week in, week out. We move
Yeah,
over to look at Haggis. It's a similar story, isn't it? He, as you'd expect,
yeah.
for Trias against rivals, having a good game. A Gat after we gave him, or yourself gave him a little bit of a hard time pre-game, having a solid. Um, Strong enough, but again, not creating enough
it's
chances.
it's very similar, isn't it? It's very similar to Bostock. Its defence is on top. Can't quite create anything, and again, the same as Scott. I think Ian will be happy with that so far, and he'll also all he's got to do now is nick a goal. I think from here it's one goal wins it, doesn't it?
Indeed, yeah, it's not too much not too much that needs changing. He's bringing Louis Saha on for Thomas Rosicky to play in that attacking midfield role. Let's kick the second half off and let's hope we get some goals, or at least something to entertain us. Maybe a couple of injuries or something. I don't know. I'm joking. Looks like both teams are getting chances away. Seen Alan Smith has gone off. What can we do here?
It's a tricky one.
Adam, he's two Kettle brought Smith on, and Smith's gone off injured. I mean Zidane can play attacking midfield. Riquelme attacking midfield. He could probably potentially. Can he go 2-1? He could bring on Joe Cole and go 2-1.
Bring on,
Oh,
yeah, I'll
he's
probably
picked
be
off.
looking to bring Smith on for Cole and leave him and Zidane on behind Vieri up top.
I think he wants Zidane up front. I think he needs to
Yeah,
go for
go
a
for
win
it.
tonight, which is
He's
fair
been
enough.
shite in midfield, so he might as well have a go up top, mightn't he?
Yeah, so Zidane Vera up front and Joe Cole behind. Um, let's kick off. Let's see if that changes anything. It looks like a blue and Vincent Candle are involved again. Zidane having a shot there, and now an injury for Petrov.
Petrov. He's all right. He's got Sione on the
It's a
bench.
no straight strop there, isn't it?
Straight in.
I don't know why I keep clicking on that. I think I'm on the home save. I'm definitely not on the home save. Let's click off again. Come on, let's have a goal. Joe Cole putting one wide. Zanoni getting booked. 83 minutes gone. Zidane puts one wide. Oh, God, come on. 87 minutes. Larson, Zanoni, corners. Oh. Fierce shot from Vieri. 91 minutes. What we got? Anything? Penalty? Play on? Oh, no. I thought Bostock may have a penalty at the end. But Dimble's on the money on this one. Not good enough, really, for any of the sides chasing. They needed victories. And Haggis again with a nil next to their name, not managing to get the double over their great rivals. I must be the only one that loves the little quirks, Ryan. Explain what you mean, Steve. I might be wrong. Um, so yeah, Bostock slightly edging the game in terms of shots on target. I think I know what you mean, Steve. I was thinking about it.
It's complete stalemate, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing happening at all. Let's have a quick look at that chance at the end. Damn clattered Zidane. Big Yap Stam taking Zidane out, but the referee turning down. Who's refereeing here? Barry Panea.
Big
Mm,
Baz.
Big Baz. He's from, yeah, I believe he's from Fife. Um,
Uh, this game is the classic game that Sky Sports hype up for months and months and months, and you get really excited about it on a Sunday, get a few beers in, and then it's just a complete non-event. The happiest managers here is every one of the managers in the playoffs tonight so far, the um, with the Churchtown Northern Burn result and this result draws. You know, all it needs now is for Halls to beat me tonight, and I think everyone in the playoffs has had a fantastic night.
yeah, obviously we've still got the Fulchester game to come as well, which should be an interesting one. But yeah, I understand completely what you mean. That's how the night's
Yeah,
gone
I
so
think
far.
that from the chase and pack kind of view, kind of viewpoint, everybody slipped up really.
Yeah. Defense is kind of coming out on top for both sides. Lasisi Milaski getting nines for Bostock Stanley. Zidane finished on a six, Vieri on an eight, but obviously not getting any of those five shots on target to go in. Quick look at there. Vieira, who had a six, I believe, at halftime, finishing on an eight. Yapstam and Didier Gat on nine, as did
Big Didier,
Ikushi.
after I said he was rubbish with the man of the match award, I don't think I've got one prediction or,
Yeah,
or sort of
uh,
player assessment correct tonight.
yeah, and much like an Edinburgh Tinder date, it's turned into a bit of an anticlimax. Um, right. We've got Fulchester versus Locomotive and then Pools versus yourself. So this is a big top six game. Quick look at the table before we look at the team. Fulchester are within reach of all this chasing pack, definitely, as are Pools. Locomotive maybe not so much. So I imagine that the chasing pack will be wanting a Locomotive win. Maka will be um, needing, I believe, a. Am I getting that right? Yeah, Matt will needing a full chest to win to get a bit of breathing space. Let's have a look at what Mac has gone for, and it's something different, mate.
Wow. Yeah, that's brave. That's brave. I like his style. You know, he's been really good at home, so I can see what he's thinking. Um, yeah, he's gone for it, hasn't he? You know, that is really attacking. Giggs, what's he got across the middle there? Giggs, Rivaldo, Veron, and McManaman. I mean, Nicky Butt is decent, but he's got a busy night tonight, I would have thought. Centre halves, I'm not sure of, but I think that might be down to injuries. The front three is decent. Um, yeah, I admire his bravery with this.
It's brave lineup.
He's
You
really
kind
brave. Any Super League lineup which includes Steve McManaman is brave.
of. He sent me this one on WhatsApp before he sent it to the Super League account and said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Interesting, mate." Didn't want to pass judgment too early. He mentioned maybe putting Okan in there on the right. He's also brought up from the reserves. He's missing Hustal Garin, who's been solid all season, still got goals injured. Michael Owen not scored all season. Um, he's not had any joy down that right hand side. Finnan's probably been
No.
classed as a bad bunch, but that's why he's gone for something a little bit different. There's a little bit of
Well,
a debate going on
he's,
here in the
he's got
chat.
to be hoping that it's the case that Didier Gats here. After I wrote him off last game, he had a storm. I expect Steve to be rolling back the years now and the shaggy hair down that wing, knocking in balls to Saviola.
Do you reckon? Have you played three at the top before, haven't you? Or is this? Am I thinking of someone else?
I don't think I have this season. I might
No,
have.
I
I've
think I'm
tried a
pretty.
lot of things. I'm
I
not
think I'm.
massive on three at the top, three up top on this. It feels like it should work, but doesn't often actually work.
Yeah, I think I might have been thinking of Kieran with Churchtown last season. Used to love it. Three at the top. Um, Locomotive Boston tactic. He's another one. He's kind of a really, really solid Super League favourite. This one, Ricardinho's been his main man of recent, 8 goals in 13 games.
Yeah.
He's brought Agbar Barson back up from the reserves. An interesting decision. Olivier Decour's come across and been solid enough. I believe Manu Petilla solid again. Pancaro, has he been in previous iterations of the Super League, or is this one of
I
these
can't remember. If he has, he's somebody who hasn't played a lot. He's been a squad man. I mean, thinking of that and looking at this, I mean, Greavesy has done a phenomenal job to come into the Super League for his first time this year and be where he is with, I hope you don't mind me saying, an unfancied squad. At the beginning of the season, I was tipping him to be near the bottom, and I think a few of the others were as well. Because, with all disrespect, you look at that team, and there's no one which really screams at you top level. And he's got them. He's got them playing so well, and they've been superb. They've shithoused a few results. They've played well in games. They're just really, really tough to beat.
Yeah, that's been the key to their success. Obviously, 25 goals conceded in line with Fulchester. Maybe we should be kind of looking at that as what to expect from tonight. They're two of the lowest scorers in the league, but two of the best defenses in the league. So, are we on for another 0-0? I hope not. I hope not. But
Um,
solid,
no,
solid lineup from Greavesy. I mean, Amoroso has been one of his stronger players as well. Let me have a quick look at the last result. Yeah, Amoroso, a goal, a man of the match. He's been solid all season. I mean, I think at this point, Greaves is looking to try and get top of the table. Um, so yeah, he'll have seen the fight
he'll
he.
want to win.
Yeah, he'll want to win. He definitely will, especially considering that the Devils have been beat tonight. A quick look at the predictions in the chat. Rob Marshall is Sloths going for 3-0. Fulchester win. Mr. Edwards going 0-0. Alfred going 1-1. And Dudley Bosti right going 0-0. Jens going 3-2 Fulchester, as is Fifey. What is Craig of Gazelle saying?
Uh, haven't seen the lineups. I'm going for a shithousey, scrappy 1-0 locomotive Boston. Just what he would absolutely love, I think.
That is exactly what he would like. Macker's also going for a 2-0 locomotive win and saying that he hates this game. Certainly, I mean, because he got beat last week. So let's kick this off and see exactly what happens. Um, McManaman was involved early on there. Looks like both teams are having chances. Agbar Barson feeding Amoroso, who gets the opening goal. Not what Macker would be happy looking to see. Saviola having an effort there, but cleared away. Cannavaro and Barthez have been huge for Locomotive Boston this season, but not
Here we
enough as
go in.
Roman Vasiliuk gets his first ever goal for Fulchester, but quickly cancelled out after 25 minutes from Pipo Inzaghi. Veron creating for Fulchester. Can he get them back into the game? Rossini putting over the bar. Looks like Fulchester are slightly on top at the moment. Um, Saved in style. Rivaldo getting forward there. Giggs bringing it forward from over the rest. Looks like it's all Fulchester. Am I going blind here? Um, I think it
Wow.
started off relatively level and it's ended up being all Fulchester. Two shots on target from Locomotive. They've both gone in. We'll have a quick look at the stats in a minute, but I imagine Gigi Buffon not covering himself in any glory. Macro starting to be getting worried now. I mean, Locomotive Boston have only won 40% of their tackles, yet they lead at half time. It's been all Fulchester. They've had possession, they've had the action zones, although it's been a lot in midfield. Let's have a quick look at the goals. Barsom up from the reserves finds Amoroso, who scores for the second week running. Um, Saviola squared the ball for Vasilic to get the equaliser, and then out of nowhere, Inzaghi puts the game back into Locomotive hands. Um, and let's see, I don't think there was too much more before half time. Um, Greavesy won't make necessarily be too happy with the performance, but he will definitely be happy with the score so far.
Yeah, he'll be delighted with that. It's every bit the shit house except for the clean sheet, isn't it? So far, it's literally. defend, and nick a couple of goals up top, which you can't fault it. It's worked to a T so far. Something like Ricardinho, his main man's barely been involved. Pippo being Pippo hasn't been involved, but he's nicked a goal. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's going to be happy with that. He's not looking at performances. He's looking at score lines.
and that's exactly what he's got so far, albeit only after 45 minutes. I've not seen any subs come through. I think there's still been a lot of debate about Fifey's lineup in the chat. I can see that what do you call it? I can see there's also a bit of chat about Maccabee. The game's not fair. Um, Steve McManaman putting in a 6 at halftime, not exactly what he would have wanted. Biscount is coming down. Stevie Mac. You put McManaman in the team every now and again, didn't you? Am
Yeah, I
I
did. Yeah,
right?
I'd been Bannerman a few times, and when I was playing 4-1-3-2 a lot, I'd play him on the right of like a three, and always hope that he would do something, and he never ever did. He used to. That was when I had Seedorf as well, and Seedorf would play there, and if he was injured, McManaman would come in, and yeah, it was much better when Seedorf was fit.
The two subs at half time is Igor Biscan to right wing for McManaman. Not something, I mean, I like Igor Biscan at DM and at right wing back, potentially even at centre back as a right winger. I'm not too sure. The other one is Stefan Effenberg, who we know that Greasy's got a soft spot for, coming on for the inform Ricardinho, albeit he's not in the best game so far. So let's kick off the second half. No red cards tonight. Alf's trying to jinx these two teams here. And it looks like the pink and white have started strong, but again, Fulchester coming into it. Saviola involved a lot. Giggs so close to Veron. Amoroso involved for Locomotive. 25 minutes to go. Locomotive still lead. Rossini's missing the target. Veron fires. Looks like Barthez having a really strong game. 20 minutes to go, and it looks like Locomotive getting a few efforts involved now. But there is an equaliser from Roman Vasilyuk, someone he brought in mid-season because he wasn't getting enough goals. Is this going to be
Nick a
enough?
winner.
Can they get a winner? Oh, looks like they had the opportunities, but not the end product. Two goals out of 9 on target for Fulchester, 2 from 3 on target out of Locomotive, and um, they might not have shithouse to win tonight, Locomotive, but they shithouse to draw. Um, they've got to say they were most likely second best for the majority there. But they've held on, and they look like they were going to hold on for all 3 points for a long period. But Colchester and Roman Vasilyuk, again assisted by Saviola, getting them back into the game. And Maka at the end will feel himself unlucky not to win. Gigi Buffon getting a 7, although he hasn't covered himself in any glory. Vasilyuk, as he expected, getting 2 goals and man of the match, both assisted by Saviola. Only a 7 for Juan Sebastian Veron, and solid defensively from Yepes, Nicky Butt, and who's the other? Litos has been
Litos.
scoring a couple of.
Litos.
I think that's his debut, Litos, and he's covering in for the injured Valgarin and Vrede. So yeah, solid enough. Um, where was Gondor when the C-suite fell? Is Macca's response. Greasy relatively happy with that, considering he's got a point. So put anything, Alam or Boston. I think Macca's fuming. Tactically spot on again and not got the win. Fuming. Um, Two men I mentioned at half time: Craig Barthez and Cannavaro with the 8.
Yeah, solid. I think it's one of them. Mac is. I can see where he's disappointed really because he's sort of dominated that game. He's picked so he's gone out of the limb and picked something really daring at home, dominated the game, hasn't got the result, and I don't think it's infuriating when that happens. It really is, and but Greavy's going to be delighted. He's gone away there. He's been second best most of the game. He's dug in. All right, he's led twice, so he's been pegged back twice. But if you're playing away to somebody in the playoffs and you come away with a point, I don't think that's too bad. I don't think either of them, when it settles down, will be overly disappointed with that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Scott Sadler saying great results for both, especially considering poor results for the chasing pack. Yeah, I think Mako would have been looking for the win considering the results for the chasing pack. The
Yeah,
chasing. I mean, Locomotive going for top spot now. I believe not right. They're not really looking over the shoulder too much. They're looking at the top two as a cert. Um, yeah. and looking at keeping the form going. A lot of yellow cards for Locomotive. I mentioned that, but no reds. Also, I believe there's still chat about. Yeah, there's still chat about fucking Swindon Devils going on, so I'm just going to stop reading. Uh, and we go to our main event of the evening, where we've got Hull's Vikings. Relatively in form. They score 2 goals every game recently. Depending on how many they concede. Who've had a really strong. I mean, they've had a really strong season. If you discount the first 4 games, they're up there, 7 points off the top in the playoffs. Um, Against the kind of your guys who have been inconsistent and chasing. Um, they've also gone with a kind of stalwart 4-1-3-2 formation, an old favourite of yours. Franco Costanzo, obviously, absolute um, champ legend goalkeeper. I was looking at Fifey's comments in the chat. Ryan doesn't like that we're actually being spoken about. Well, yeah, I mean, all I can say is you can tell that Paolo Montero had a night off tonight. Um,
I
um,
really like this Hull side, and there's a lot of good players in there. And as you said, it's a formation I really like, and he's got some real solid play. Campbell and Thuram is as solid as it comes. Ambrosini's quality. Nikiforenko is one of the best sort of AMCs in the game. He can break from there. Beckham's quality. You think Beckham to Van Nistelrooy is like whenever you play Man United on the game, that's all you see season one. So and obviously I've been slating Maxim after he didn't do it for me, so he's bound to pop up with a couple tonight. So yeah, I like that, and I can see why Jens has gone back to the 4-1-3-2 because it is solid and staple in the game. And I always feel if you play that, you're going to win more than you lose.
no, I get that completely. That's the word for it, isn't it? It's solid, and he's got a solid lineup, especially that back line, in my opinion. I mean, a few questions were asked about when he brought Ian Hart in. Out of him, he had a lack of. I think he built his side for a what do you call it, for a narrow formation, switched to 4 at the back, and he was lacking a left hand side player. Played Ivan Cordoba there for a while, but Ian Hart's come in, been solid enough. Couple of assists, couple of man of the matches, can't really complain. 2 sixes last time out, and not in the best of moods for some reason. But yeah, it's just a really solid back line. Ambrosini, obviously, a lot of Super League pedigree. Finalist last season with Parma for Nikos. Really good really good in the past as well. And yeah, Nicky Franco's always done it. As you kind of suggested, Sizalco didn't do it too much for you guys last time round, but I mean, at some point, you got to think he's got to come good in the Super League.
Yeah, especially as I sold him in pre-season. I think we done a deal, and I put in Clive for Sugalko, and people eyebrows are probably raised because of his stature in the home game saves. But Clive, I was going to play one up top, and Clive was the man for me. But yeah, he's been decent.
So I'll let you kind of start. I feel like my voice is going. I've been chatting so much, so I'll let you talk. If you want to chat about your squad and your season so far, you go ahead. But then let's touch on your team for tonight and what you're expecting.
Yeah, as you see, when I play homes, I don't like to chop and change my formation much. I like to stick with something and give it quite a few games. I haven't had the chance to do that this year because we haven't been consistent enough. We'd sort of win 2 or 3 and look like this is the one, this is the formation, and then we'd go lose 2 or 3 and be really terrible. Then I'd change it, and then we'd win a couple and lose a couple. Then I'd change it, and that's been the story of the season. We've sort of fell upon this one trying to shoehorn our better players into the side, into their natural positions. It's not a formation I particularly like that much, if I'm honest with you, but it's just something that we're trying to, like I said, trying to shoehorn everyone in. Dede and Cafu should be 2 of the best, if not the best, wing backs in the game. I've left Lucio out recently because he's been shite, to be honest, and Marino's come in and been really good. Keenan Jeremy's is solid, um, really solid.
It is, yeah.
I
You've got a
don't.
decent Roy Keane as well. There's the Swemp FA going on. I don't know if you're aware of it in kind of a,
Yeah, I've seen it.
parallel universe, and I've got a Roy Keane in my squad, and he's absolutely garbage.
Yeah, it's
But
disappointing when that happens. I think I think I overlooked the MC position beginning of the season, so I don't plan to play with them. And if I do play with them in a 4-1-3-2, I tend to use AMCs there. Um, so that's why Medina's come into the middle.
Mm.
Agahawa's been really, really good for me behind the front two. So I'm happy for him to stay there. And I think Raul and Clivert picks itself. I think the front three has, I think they've been pretty good. Agahawa hasn't scored loads, but he set up a few. So, I just literally just need to find something which keeps me solid at the back and score goals, because I can either be solid at the back and don't score either, or score a load and concede a load. So just looking for balance, really.
It definitely looks like a balanced lineup to me. I'm also going to pick up on Mr. Campbell's comment there. I love the two formations. I'm sure here, flat back forward is tremendous. I do like it. I must admit, it's a kind of it's what pretty much every club in the world play. They either play with 4-4-2 flat back four or 4-4-2 wing back. So when we kind of go back to it, and this is what we've got tonight, then it's good fun. So yeah, um, I'm looking forward to a good game here, and let's see what we've got. And I like your away kit as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I was going to say I do like my away kit. That's the saving grace of tonight for me, because if I'm honest, I can't see us how inconsistent we are. I can't see us getting a result. So yeah,
Jens picking up
that's
on that they haven't got NDI tonight has been key for them all season. I don't think we have. I don't think I noticed that when we were going through the team. But yeah, he's missing tonight. He's picked up a bit of a knock. That's why Ambrosini's coming in that position. But still a solid lineup. He reckons the Gazelles 2-0 victory. Dimble's going for a 1-0 Hools victory, as a lot of people are. Devils going 2-0 Hools. Macca going 2-1. Alf going for a 1 apiece. Righty backing you boys 2-1, and Rob Marshall going for 0-0. Macca is saying Gazelles are the only team who've doubled me this season.
yeah,
So
I did.
obviously,
Yeah, yeah, I got. I'm like, yeah, let's back myself. Let's say we're going to win 2-1. I don't truly believe it, but you got to back yourself, haven't you?
gotta back yourself. Gotta back yourself. After 5 minutes, that confidence may be holding up. It's been both sides involved. Cafu involved now, and Private hitting one top corner. It does look like you guys are coming into it a little bit more than Fools. I've seen Agahoa's name mentioned a few times, but as soon as I said that, sorry for jinxing you, mate. Ruud van Nistelrooy has put it in the back of the net for the Fools. Been absolutely solid all season for them. I think it's pretty much a goal every other game, which is what
Yeah, he's
what you
quality.
can expect. 43 minutes, so both teams are involved. Raul missing the target, not what you want to see. Um, and Van Nistelrooy creating chances again, and she looked like Tizalco was going to double the league there, but you'll be glad to see that didn't go in.
Fairly
Um,
even.
Fairly even, yeah, completely agree with that. Two on target versus one on target, quite a few off target from both sides. Nothing too much to separate the two teams there. You've had more possession, but he's had better action areas, so make of that what you will. Let's have a quick look at how the goal went. And Tizalco knocks it in the area for Van Nistelrooy. Good for Jens to see the two strikers combining. I'll conscious that you'll be able to do your subs straight away if you want to, so I'll go to the Hools first. Um, sevens and eights, all above 98, 90% condition. You'd be relatively happy with that, you think?
Yeah, James will be delighted with that. That's your classic 4-1-3-2 performance at half time. Sevens littered with a few eights. That's exactly what you'd expect from it at home as well. So yeah, I think from James's point of view, so far so good, really.
Yeah, absolutely rock solid. You mentioned pre-game Campbell and Thuram not too much better. I think we last Super League we had Sol Campbell get a kind of a really bad injury day one, didn't we? And then never really came back from that for the old Hools side. So he looks like he's nailing down a really solid season this year, 7.33 in a team that are challenging up there. Jens is going as is. You may not be too happy to see. What about your side's first half?
It looks pretty poor, doesn't it? Really, when you look at the stats. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in contrast to Jen's sort of sevens littered with a few eights, we're sixes littered with a few sevens. So we just, which probably sums up the score as well, doesn't it? We're just slightly second best on the ratings, and we're slightly second best on the scoreline. Don't really know how we go about changing it. We could try and mix it up a little, I suppose, but You got your big gun. I haven't really got anything on the bench really, which excites me. We could stick Giovanni on for Agahauer. Just see whether Giovanni can come up with something from nowhere.
Interesting. Well, I think for me, you've got Yardell on the bench who potentially could. Do you mean he could come on and do stuff? But I
He
wouldn't want to
can.
take. I wouldn't want to take Raul or Clive off.
That's the big thing. Raul and Clivert's been my main goal scorer, and Raul can do something out of nothing. It's one of them. You kind of leave them on and hope that they're going to get something out of nothing for you tonight. Yeah, I'd say they're both better than Jardel.
Yeah,
Jardel is decent, but yeah, I'm going to stick with them.
fair enough. Let's kick off the second half and see if your boys can come back into it. Um, Looks like it started strongly for the
Yeah.
Hools again, but Cafu is always a threat, and as is Dede. And there is that
Yes,
main
Patrick.
man, Patrick Kluivert, and
Ooh,
that is a good couple of minutes for you, mate, isn't it?
yeah,
Interesting to see what Jens will do here. Obviously, has a little bit more freedom when there's a red card and change things around a little bit. Not nothing. Obviously, can't. Giselle off Cordoba on. Fair enough. Not doing too much then. So obviously he'd be happy with a draw by the looks of it,
yeah.
getting one up
To,
top.
to be fair, if I was hit, that's exactly what I would do. Because I think you've still got Van Nistelrooy up on the right. You're solid at the back. You've still got your goal threat. Still got Nikiforenko in behind. Yeah, I was hoping he was going to go all out attack there.
I believe Maka. I don't know if you can see the chat, but Maka's referring that you sound a bit like Andy Townsend. He's saying if you own a tactics truck, is that something like?
I haven't got Clive Tilsley locked in the bathroom like Rob has with with Palmer. Well, that's better. I think Tim said I sound like Martin Keown, which is really bad. But Andy Townsend's marginally better.
Ah, right. So I'm looking at selected comments here, and it's Fifey's the one who's saying that you sound a bit like Andy Townsend. Maka just saying if you get a tactics truck, right? Yeah, it's not a bad
If I had a tactics truck, I'd be higher up the league.
name. It looks like Hull's had a bit of an attacking flurry then after the red card. It looks like they're still
Yeah,
creating
it's looking
chances,
like
which
they're on
is
top. To be fair,
hmm. Nikiforenko involved a lot. Looks like I would definitely. I mean, don't want to do you
Sam,
down there, but it looks like it's still all Hulls at the moment.
yeah, I'm under pressure on this really with the 10 men. Like I said, I think the sub he made off was the right sub to do.
10 minutes to go. Both sides looking for a winner. Maybe Hull's looking the most likely, but not
Yeah, I
getting
think
one.
yeah, that's fairly even.
Yeah, I think relatively even. Considering the red card, 4 shots straight on target. I think. Yeah,
Didn't really capitalise
I
off.
think after the red card, Jens would have taken the one apiece. And I think it's probably how it's panned out as kind of a deserved result for both sides, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I said at the time, Jens made a really good move by taking Sigalgo off and then Cordoba on annoyingly, and he nullified us. And to be fair, they looked more likely after that. They really did. 1-1 away at the Halls, the way I've been playing, is not a bad result. But getting to 1-1, them going down to 10, would have liked to have nicked it. But, the real winner here is everyone in the top six because everyone underneath it is gained nothing tonight, have they?
No, Hodgie's the big winner. Cole, that's
Yeah,
what you've said. I
Hodgson's
think
the
he's
big
the
winner.
which we'll
I
see in a
think he
minute.
owes Fifey a few pints. He'll have to meet him at the Toby Carvery. And
Hodgie just made a joke before I spent it asking for Fifey's PayPal address. Um, so let's quick run through the results now. Astor maybe a surprise win at home
five
to Dudley Hill,
draws.
putting a nail in the coffin. Bostock versus Haggis, bit of a dead rubber. I mean, it's turned into a bit of a dead rubber's not long term. Bit of a damp squib is what I meant to say. Not the result that either side needed. Churchtown Northern Burn again, not the result that either side needed. Dragons taking a point off Sloths, maybe could have got all three. Been good for the boys down the bottom. Sloths, I think relatively safe up there. Fulchester, um, not doing enough to get the 3 points at home to Locomotive, even though they probably put in performance. Hull's Gazelles one apiece, as we've just seen there, relatively deserved results. And Leathersford 3, Devils nil. definitely selection issues for the Devils boys. And as you've kind of alluded to there, that's 5 draws and 2 home wins. Bit of a rarity in the Super League. Look, yeah, I mean, Leathersford are the only kind of team in contention who've got a victory tonight, and
Yeah,
that,
it's a big night for Hodgie, that.
yeah. And looking at this,
Wow.
Leathersford are kind of further away. I mean, they're not sixth anymore; they're up to fourth, which would be absolutely great for Hodgie. And I was trying to think. There's not too much changed, is there?
No, I think we're a point worse off from it now. I think we were 3 points off it. We're now 4. Um, yeah, it's a good night for the top 6, really.
Yeah, it's one less game that the rest of the lads have to catch them. I would kind of say that Bostock Gazelles, and you've got to see that, are still relatively in touch. You're 4 points away from Fulchester in 5 games,
Yeah,
5 points away from Leathersford and Hull's definitely doable. Um, Bostock 3 points, sorry, 2 points away behind Fulchester now. I think they were pre-game as well. Um, so yeah, it's all within the realms of possibility. Um, I don't know if we said at the beginning of the night, if Churchtown, Haggis, and Dudley Hill didn't win, then they're probably out of it. Um, it's you need a big turn up for the Bucks, one of those three to make it. Um, yeah, I'm not too sure if we're going to see that. Um,
no, I would say from us down or out of it, we've got a slim chance, but it really looks now 6 from the top 7.
Six years, so you're kind of drawing a line. I think that's maybe a little bit harsh on yourself. I know it's probably something that you're trying to do on purpose, doing
I
going
don't know.
deliberately
I
harsh.
don't, like I said to you, when we looked at our fixtures earlier, our fixtures are quite tough.
Mm.
Um,
But in a way, another way of looking at that, mate, it's that you've got to beat those sides for them to get
yeah,
open.
that is true. That is true, actually. So that gives us a chance because if we do get a little run together, we will climb.
Yeah, I see what you
And
mean.
if Fife is kind enough to play the same sort of team as he played against Leathersford, just to give them another chance when we meet, I think you never know.
You never know. Um, so we've got first v second next week, which I think definitely Greavesy will be hoping that Fifey goes with the same lineup. Um, a quick look at what else we've got: Churchtown versus Astor. Maybe a chance for Churchtown to get back to winning ways, which have been eluding them for so long. Dudley Hill. Whether they consider themselves out of it now is a matter for opinion, but Fulchester away from home and not the same outfit that they are at home, and they're not in the best of form at the minute. So be interesting to see. But although they played really well tonight, so who knows what kind of Fulchester lineup we're going to get and whether he sticks with the three up top. You've got Spartak Sloths at home. Are you seeing that as an opportunity to catch one of the top six? Or are you seeing that as a really tough game that you'll be yeah, you're quite concerned about?
It's both. It's a really tough game, but it is an opportunity. Every home game, I'd say, is an opportunity, and you know they are in the top 6, so it's a chance to gain a little bit of yards. So, yeah, yeah, it's definitely an opportunity.
Fair enough, fair enough. Haggis Hunters versus Dragons, depending on your outlook, that might be a bit of a nothing game. I mean, Haggis need one hell of a run at the end of the season. I mean, at the end of the season, when you look at who they've got Dragons next, but then they've got Sloths, Boston Gazelles, and Devils. So
No, they're
it,
done for me. I think Leathersford Bostock is the big one, isn't it?
completely agree. Yeah, that's going to be an absolutely huge game. It's Bostock have got to go to Leathersford and get something, if not all 3 points, to kind of put a bit of pressure on the top lads. Bostock are, I mean, they've maintained in that position, really, haven't they? It's, I mean, they went into through some bad form, then they've 2 draws and a win in the last three. It's not, I mean, it's not championship form, but it's also not, I mean, it's not missing out form either. So they need to do something. Northern Burn versus Hulls Vikings. Northern Burn, a bit of a different outfit nowadays, so might not be playing
Yeah,
form for the Vikings,
I'll be
and they're
hoping
not.
Ian does me a favour there, and They've been in good form. Well, I suppose, what, they now unbeaten in five? Or
Unbeaten
that's
in
more than
five, but they
unbeaten
haven't
in
won.
five, yeah.
But they haven't won in the last two. And it's interesting to see whether draws, if you look at the table, will draws be enough to make it? 5 draws will take him to 39 points. That could make it, it might not do, depending on the form of
No.
the other sides. Um, and the Devils versus Locomotive, both sides will be vying for the top spot. I imagine we'll see two full strength sides there. I'd be very surprised if 5 kind of goes with that again. Just having a quick look at the kind of remaining fixtures of the teams that I would consider in contention. So start with yourselves, and you've we've looked at this already. Slot is a real tough running on paper. You've got Sloths, Boston Devils, Haggis, and Dudley Hill. Potential winnable games towards the end of the season, but it depends whether you're in a position to get there come that time.
I think I've got to win 4 from 5 to guarantee make it. I think if you win 4 from 5, we make it. But looking at it, where are your four coming from? I don't know. It's not impossible.
Not impossible. Yeah, I think you need. Yeah, I probably agree with you there. You need at least 3 wins and a draw, but most likely you need 4 wins from 5.
I think 4 wins would probably not guarantee it, but near enough. But
Yeah,
you look at them fixtures. Having said that, they're not the easiest of fixtures either, are they?
yeah. I mean, that's a real big game next week. Leicester versus Bostock. Then he's got Churchtown and Astor, which you'll definitely be looking at, thinking that's a potential for 6 points there. And you mean if he's in good form, he's got 2 home games to finish the season. Devils and Vikings. They're not easy games by any stretch of the imagination. If Devils are secure in the top two at that point, maybe a different story.
Well,
Uh,
that's the thing. The Devils and Hawks could both be in the playoffs by then, and that makes those two games different games.
yeah, completely agree. I don't know. I think looking at that on paper, it's not the toughest run in.
No,
He'll look at he's got a huge game next week, but then he'll look at those next two and think they're winnable. Um, Fulchester, they've got. Do you mean it's home and away is the thing you've got to look at with Fulchester, and they've got 3 away games left: Dudley Hill, Laddersford, and Astor, and 2 home games left. Now, looking at league positions,
that to me,
that's the easiest running.
that's definitely the easiest running on paper. But obviously, it's not played on paper. But Mac has got to fancy that.
Got to fancy that, but he means that he's got to pick up some points away from home, which he's not done. I think 2 wins away from home all season. Um, and he'll need to go to Dudley Hill or to Astor or even to Laddersford and get a victory. I mean, it depends what Dudley Hill kind of turn up. If that team that played tonight turn up, then they've got a good chance that they could.
A really good
But
chance.
yeah, but we saw the Fulchester that played against you, was it? Yeah, who were pretty much abysmal. Um, so yeah, it depends who turns up. Who else have we got? Who's Vikings? Jens wanted to look at his fixtures anyway. He's got Northern Burn, not an easy one. Leddersford, that could be a real crucial game. I mean, it looks like I'm looking at Leddersford quite a lot here, and things like every game that they're playing is a big one. Um, Churchtown may well be out of it at that point. Most likely Astor are out of it already. And then that last game of the season against Bostock could be absolutely huge, or they could already be in there, and that could be a nothing game. So an interesting one.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. There's all to play for. It's good coming down to the last few games. Be nice if you can get down to the last fixture of the season with a few teams in the mix, wouldn't it?
It's always good. It's happened the last few seasons, and it's always great fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, we kind of mentioned that Leddersford a lot there when we're going through the teams, and that's do you mean if those 5 fixtures, they're all teams that are in the mix with the exception of Dragons. Um, so it could be huge. Those next 3 games are particularly. I mean, that's seventh, fifth, and sixth against fourth in the next 3 games. So Leddersford have got a real kind of battle on over the next few weeks, which could make or break their season. But they're the informed
They're in
side.
good form, yeah. Won 4 in a row. The old Montella and Torres partnership could fire them all the way to the playoffs. If they maintain that form, you can't rule them out winning the whole thing.
No, you can't. Well, you can't. I mean, apart from the team that want, you can't rule anyone out at this point.
No,
There's
that's
no
true.
There's no one dead set, but yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, no one will want to play them. And I mean, Bostock will maybe looked at that Leathersford fixture maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago and thought that's a good chance to get 3 points. Now he's going there looking not to get beat. In my opinion, it's a
Yeah.
change. Just a quick glance at Slough. I think, I mean, they should have enough to get 1 or 2 victories in the next 5 games. They've got a tough one away at you guys next. Then they've got Haggis at home, which on paper, at the moment in time, maybe not against the squads. You've got Haggis and Dudley away, which, I mean, Spartak Sloths would fancy themselves at the moment, as well as Northern Burn, and then we'll see where we're at come the last game of the season against Leathersford. But I mean, again, with that man David Collins, you mean you can't really see them going on a 4 or 5 game losing streak because they've not done that all season.
No, I think that's their place in the playoffs is pretty much guaranteed. Devils, Boston, and Sloths, they're in. I think.
Yeah, Boston, solid run in there, and there's the Devils just so enough like he's in the chat. Um, it's 2 minutes to go, so I'm just going to quickly click through these. Any final words from yourself, mate?
No, I've enjoyed it tonight. It's been good. Thanks for having me on.
You've been
Um,
absolutely fantastic value, mate. Honestly, really good. I know last time you were on, you were in kind of a duo when sometimes you don't really get enough opportunity, I think. But tonight, I don't know what the people in the chat will say, but I've loved it. It's one of my favourite shows I've done actually on the midweek. So really
thank
appreciate
you
you
very
coming on.
much. No, it's been
Um,
good.
it's good when someone knows what I'm about and getting quality comments in the cams as well. Campbell saying great show, Steve Wright saying quality cams, and yeah, really do appreciate it. So
Yeah,
thanks to
cheers,
everyone for
boys.
sticking with us to the end, especially Jens and the lads who were up early. And I know it's like midnight now in Norway. So thank you so much to you guys. Thanks a lot for coming on, Craig, and good luck to everyone with the remainder of the season. Just a quick final word. Um, there was due to be a show on Sunday. However, I've just found out earlier on tonight that Martin isn't available. And I was meant to be off on Sunday for reasons of Valentine's, etc. So you're probably going to find out in the next couple of days whether that show on Sunday will go ahead or we move to next Wednesday. Fifey was due to be on comms, so I'll liaise with him about what exactly the plan is. We might do a Saturday show, we might do a Monday show. I'm not decided, or we might not do a show at all until next Wednesday. But I'll try and keep everyone informed and get a decision out as quickly as possible. I know I don't really want to go down the kind of the road of a pre-recorded show because yeah, I read a bit of. I mean, there was a bit of negative press from that last season, including for myself. I just didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much. But um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. And I'll let everyone know as soon as I know. But yeah, thank you so much, Craig. Thanks so much in the comms, and yeah, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See you later.